Hello, everyone. Welcome back to semester two, and this is Mr. Shao. I hope you guys are had an enjoyable winter break, and now we are back. So we're going to be starting week 19. I know it sounds well. Why don't we just call it week one of semester two? Well, because there's 36 weeks in the total school year, and once you get a 36-week year done, you finish the whole year of education and schooling. So week 19 is actually where we're at, and we're going to be starting with two assignments. I'm going to be talking about assignment number two. But the main focus of this week, of course, is the contextualization of what happened at the Capitol last week. So that is the events from January 6th. And so make sure that you are working on that um, both on your own and also as well as in class. It will take up the majority of this week's lessons. And we're going to be looking at what we should be kind of analyzing or even taking from different sources and understanding the events of what actually happened. There's also a journal this week, and so the journals are going to be two small slides, and we're going to be adding to that as we go along. Okay, so assignment number two today is going to be talking about the British imperialism in India, guided reading. This is homework, or actually, in a sense, homework, but it's just going to be something you're going to do on your own, do at next week on that Monday. Okay, so you're going to need your textbook, or if you know how to get into Clever and get into the McGraw-Hill online book, that could also be resourceful. And I'm going to show you actually just kind of like I kind of forgot how to get back onto McGraw-Hill myself, but I could show you actually how to do that. Okay. So you read pages 270 to 276. Actually, it's going to be 270 to 275, actually. Um, on page 276, there really isn't more information, and there won't be any questions that you really need to look at after 275. So just kind of, you can skip the last paragraph at the end of the reading, okay? Because it's not going to be something we're going to talk about. All right, so let's go ahead and go to, okay, so this is week 19, January 11th to the 15th, and we're going to be looking at assignment number two about British imperialism in India. So we're going to talk about India, and so it might be a foreign and kind of different country, but it was greatly affected by British culture, and you wonder why there are so many Indian restaurants actually in the United Kingdom or Britain itself. This is kind of the reason why, because there was such a connection between these two countries for such a long time. And it was, we can't say it was all good, but it did actually cause a lot of other nationalistic feelings for India. Okay, so we're going to be looking at that. And let's go ahead and go to the reading. And if you look at the reading, it's going to look like this. It's going to be page 270, okay, about British rule in India. And this is lesson 3 in chapter 7 in your book. We're not going to call that, we're not going to actually, be calling that chapter 7 for us, but just know that this is where you're going to be reading, okay? So that's on page 270. And most of this information is going to talk about what kind of started as kind of a British domination of India, okay? And you could stop about here near the end after the cultural colonial Indian culture, and right about here we're not going to need to go and read anything else after that. Okay, so most of the questions are going to be on page 270 and 275. And the reading questions will be right here, okay? So you can see that we have 4 reading questions for you, and you need to give at least 2 to 3 sentence responses for each question. So make sure you really answer the question as best as you can, because each of these questions cover about a good amount of information. So just think of it as taking notes. So what was the Sepoy Mutiny? How did it begin? And even think about the effects of the Sepoy Mutiny, because we're going to be discussing it next week. So this is just us gearing up to help you understand what we're going to be discussing when we come back for imperialism on the 18th. Okay. And how were the Indians governed under British rule? And this is a very big question because there were a lot of different things that happened to the Indians because they were ruled by somebody else, the English, right? And the English are known for their love of tea and, of course, for their manners. But what did that mean for the Indians? Okay. Uh, Number three, it's going to be talking about Indian nationalists, meaning that those that are have a very big pride or have like a very significant pride of their own country. And so, what did that mean? So, think about what Indian nationalists were, okay, and probably still are, okay. So, think about that question, and then think about what goals they were trying to accomplish and how they tried to accomplish it. So, there's actually almost two parts in this, okay. And then, lastly, how did the British rule lead to positive and negative influence in Indian culture? So how did the British influence Indian culture? There were positives and negatives to this. And so what did the British bring to the country or what did they take away? So think about this and give an example of each. So they give me a positive and also give me a negative based on the reading. So think of it as taking notes. Each of the sections of reading covers each of these questions. So it's not really a whole lot, but it is something that will help you think about what this is going to be talking about. Okay. All right. So after you do the questions, we're going to be looking at this map. So to get us ready to continue our discussions about India, I want you to do a question formulation technique. So looking at this map, you're going to jot down as many questions as you can without stopping, without kind of like answering them, but they should be complete questions. Um, they should be kind of addressing a lot of different things on this map, okay? And just try to think about the focus of India, East Asia, China maybe, and even like the Philippines, okay? And think about those three main countries, okay? If you give me a bunch of questions about Mongolia, you're really out of touch. So think about what you want to give questions about and focus on India, China, and the Philippines, because those are the three we're really actually going to be focused on or talking about in the next week. So go ahead and question from formulation techniques and think about how that could work in looking at imperialism in Asia in 1914. And then here's an example. So even if you write like a statement, the Netherlands control the East India Islands. That's not really a question. So make sure it is a question. So why did the Netherlands control the East India Islands? Okay, because they're all the way around the globe, and yet, you know. So there's actually a lot of questions you could be asking just looking at this map. Okay. So those are two parts of your assignment. Make sure you get these done by next week so you can use them for discussion. And then we're going to be looking at India, China, and hopefully the Philippines. All right. Thank you, guys.